Hey everyone, welcome back to the market update video. We're looking at the numbers, what happened in March. Obviously, there's a lot of changes. Things are moving up. The market is starting to pick up as the spring market arrives, and we have new rebates from Ontario government coming into effect that have started to push the new bills more as well. Don't forget, this is a collaboration video with tons of great agents around the country and North America altogether. So if you're interested about hearing about what's happening in other cities and provinces, take a look in the description below and you'll be able to link to those as well. But in the meantime, let's get back to the video and let's break down what's exactly happening in the city of Ottawa and for March 2026, what our market update looks like. And if you're a buyer or seller, you want to pay close attention to this because this could all affect you in the next coming months. Thank you, and let's get into it. All right, so getting into the market update, first things first, we're going to just go to the market insights. So where are we at? So average list price is at 806,000. Median list price is at 650,000. We have a total of 2,777 active listings. And then the KPI for sales between since January of this year till March 31st, our average price point up to this date is 703 and our median price is 645. But let's get a little bit more deeper into that. So let's go to our charts here. Go to Ottawa. So our transaction volume is obviously picking up. So we started January pretty slow compared to December, which is somewhat typical, but still a little bit slower than the last few years. You can see right now in March, we had the most transactions we've had all year. We had 977 transactions happen in March. The prior month was 723, which was in February. And if we look back at last year, we're actually at 1,023. So year over year, we're still down 1.5%, but it's a pretty big increase from last month. Now, if we look at average price points, the price is going up dramatically, right? So we're at 707, which is a 6.1 increase from last month, right? So we were at 667, now we're at 707, so a pretty large increase. Another thing to look at is what's happening with homes that are going above list price. So they actually tapered off in March. About 15% of homes were selling over asking, where it was 14.5% last month, but that's a 30% drop from last year. So there's a lot less homes compared to last year in March that are actually selling over asking. Percentage at list price, this one I think is going to be pretty high. Yeah, it is. So this one is, about 8% of homes are selling over asking, which is an 19% increase over last month. But the prior year we were at 11%, and that's a 30% drop. But you can see the market picking up overall in March compared to February. Now let's see below list price. So a lot less homes selling below list price. So we had 76% of homes selling under list price. That's less than 2%. More than 2% homes are going over at asking, and that is a 13% increase from last year. So last year there was a lot less homes selling over or below list price. Okay, so Ottawa. So the active listings, and where am I going here? One sec. So let's take a look at the market report and let's go to Ottawa. So this one is going to give us a real breakdown of what's happening. So the average prices are at 707, pretty much 708, up 6%, up 2.5% from last year, which is good to see. Median price, I don't like to take a look at median price that often. It's really the averages you want to look at. But the transaction volume is still a big one, so there isn't as many buyers. We're looking at less than 5% of buyers compared to last year. Um, Average list price is lower this year and lower than last month, which is interesting to see. So a lot more people are actually probably pricing at a more realistic price point, which is why you're seeing the average prices go up. Because if somebody starts pricing it lower than what it's actually worth, people will start bidding it up higher. Just the nature of how the market moves. Another one to look at is average days on market. So we've shrunk from 44 last month to 38, and last year we were at 35. So we're very, very close to it. We're very similar market to last March. Median days on market is 21. That's all pretty relative. Terminations are up. So you're seeing a lot more homes get terminated, which means they're either canceling and relisting or they're taking their listing off altogether. So some of those older listings that aren't able to sell, they might be coming off the market more frequently. Average sale to list price. So 98% of people are getting 98% roughly from their sale price to the list price, which is actually lower than last year, but it's an increase from last month. So that means more people are paying up at the moment. The new listings volume, we're at an all-time high. We're 50% more listings than last month, and 5% more listings than last year, same time. Above list price, we talked, that was 15%, similar to last month, but also pretty down compared to last year, 30% almost. And then year-to-date numbers, you can see those as well. So year-to-date, we're at 677. Compared to last year-to-date, we're at 683. So these are very interesting numbers to see because we did have a slow month to start, or slow year to start, but we're starting to ramp up and you're seeing the market kind of evolve through the spring market. I think a lot of factors play into that. One is obviously we've had really, really rough weather, which hasn't been kind to buyers going out there and doing showings and stuff like that with very, very cold weather. I know it's like such a such a weird thing to pin it on, but I do think those exterior factors do factor in what's happening in the market. Another thing that I wanted to mention to let everybody like right now is that new builds are actually coming up at lower prices, especially with those new rebates that have come into effect. So I think a lot of people are jumping back into the new build market, which technically should slow this down, which is the resale market, because a lot of these properties, a lot of the new build properties, they might not even be listed on MLS. So that in that case, they don't actually qualify for these metrics. So that is something that to be cognizant of. That might not tell the big story as well. So if you're looking at new builds, it might not factor into this. I know some new builds are on MLS, and those are typically the ones that you want to negotiate on, and those are the typical ones that are going to be the best price. And keep in mind too, you got to watch what the builders are doing. I've also seen a lot of price increases from the last week or so, just because of the rebates, right? So because the government is giving so many rebates, the builders are like, you know what? Well, we're going to sell out very quickly. It's time to start raising prices. So just typical marketing from the builders, nothing new from them. That has been pretty much their MO all the time. Is as soon as inventory starts running out, they start cranking up the prices, and that's a pretty standard thing to see there. One thing that I want to help everybody understand is the average days on market. That means the competition is starting to pick up, right? So if you're a buyer out there and you're looking at homes and you're seeing homes sell a lot quicker, well, it's a dead giveaway because the the homes are taking less to sell, right? Like if we look at here, uh, let's just go into like sold. So we had in the last 3 days we had 69 sold listings. If we just look at this, like the top of my list, we have 5 firm sales, right, all over, right, all different price points. Just simple lists like this. Like if we look, like if we just do the change details, we can't do that. But like let's say take a look at this. So we had 69 sales in the last 3 days and 173 conditional sales, which is pretty crazy to see, right? All different price points. And then if we go back and we make it 7 days on a 7-day trend, so that brings us to late March, we got 387 conditional sales and 308 firm sales, which is pretty wild, right? We got tons of firm sales here, which means people are buying homes over asking or at asking and making the offers firm. And you can see that right here, like this one here, for Alderbrook, 725 list price, sold for 855, which is wild, right? Kenora Street, Tunney's Pasture, 1.4 million, sold for 1.4 million. Like let's just see what it took 3 days to sell. or no, that wasn't that one. That's, yeah, this one's 7 days, right? All these, this is a lot for sale. 525 sale price after 500 list price, sold in 4 days. For another one here, 3 days, sold firm, 699 list price, sold for 727. What else we got here? Like a lot of firm sales, right? Um, so one thing to keep in mind is when you're looking out there, if you're a buyer, you want to know what your competition is, and you got to see, you got to ask your agent, how well priced is this property? Even if you're, an experienced buyer, something like this on Waverly Street, 6 days, listed at 1.1 million, sold for 1.126 very quickly, 6 days, no conditions. So a lot of stuff moving around. Um, but yeah, that's really what I wanted to get into. The market is picking up. If you're a buyer or a seller and you're thinking about either starting your home search or you're thinking about listing your property, well, the time is now. Because as a buyer, the best properties are going to be hitting the market at this point. You're not going to see all the rougher properties. Those can hit the market whenever. It's when you're looking in the peak, you're going to see the best inventory and the most amount of inventory. But at the same time, too, you're going to have the most competition as a buyer. As a seller, you got to do that in reverse. If you do have a nice property, presentation and having the listing properly prepped is very important, because you want to be one of those sales in the first week or two to be sold, and you want to be priced aggressively from the start so that you get the most amount of traction right away. And if you're thinking you're underpricing, think again, because as we can see, we're seeing a lot of homes sell over asking, because people know the true value of it, right? If the home is rough and you're just listing it at a price point that you don't think you can get, but you want to try it, I would strategize against that, just to have the more traction in there, because the more traction you have in there, the better feedback you're getting, the more activity you're getting on your listing, and you're having it move forward a lot quicker rather than just sitting on it for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it is. And we can see here the average days on market is 38, meaning that it should take you about a month and 7 days to about sell, right? So if you haven't sold in a month or so, then you got to rethink what's happening. And the problem is, a month might be too late. You got to start picking things up pretty quick, because the market peaks. If we look at the charts here, the transaction volume is going to peak. Last year it peaked in May, and then it started significantly going down. So we're 2 months away from May, right? So that's one thing I would say is really that your time is now to get those peak prices and peak market opportunities, to get into that. But that's pretty much all I have for now. If you have any questions about this or want to know more about what's happening in your current market or in your current area, drop a comment below. I take a look at all the comments and read them. If you want to connect and understand what to do next in your home buying search or your home selling search or your home selling process, drop a shout below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.